How did you feel when you started writing songs like that? Like, what were the emotions you were feeling you were writing songs like that?
It was my therapy.
Yeah.
It was a release. It was like, I felt like I haven't had therapy, you know? So it's like, this was my therapy. This is my release. This is how I'm gonna, you know, get through this shit, you know? And I put it in the music.
I loved listening to your record. I really love listening to your record.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Tell me a little bit about what inspired it, because when I'm reading about you, reading about it, I see a lot of different things. I see that Joyner Lucas says that the record was inspired by feeling overwhelmed or being frustrated. I see that Joyner Lucas, this record was inspired by like having to cut some people out of his life.
Yeah.
As much as you want to tell me, what was inspiring this record?
A lot of that. It's a mixture and a blend between a whole bunch of different things, man. Between that, you know, what you talked about as far as, you know, growing and you know, becoming a new person and, you know, being too busy to kind of, you know, face yourself and kind of face some of the traumas and face the truth about yourself and knowing that you need to change. You know, to also feeling overwhelmed because you are too busy in order to, you know what I'm saying, be able to spend time with your kids sometimes, or, you know, being able to have to prioritize certain things over other things, you know what I'm saying, as far as like, you know, the music goes, or, you know, the videos, or, you know, the movies, and, you know, and then, you know, I had to do the album like 2 times, you know what I'm saying? I did it over again. Yeah,
there's another version of the album, right? There was sort of one previous version.
There was one previous version, and then there was this version.
What can you tell me what happened there?
Yeah, as far as the other album goes, I just didn't feel like it was all the way 100% authentic to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like I was trying to, I felt like I was experimenting with like different sounds and doing different things that I just, in the end, when I went and took it back and listened to it, I wasn't happy with it. I knew the fans wasn't really gonna be messing with it neither. So I was like, I'm not even gonna, I gotta restart this and do it all, start from the drawing board over again.
That's a powerful thing to do, man. Like I talk to people who don't have the ability, because once they think they do it, they what's that called, the sunk cost fallacy. They put the time into it, so therefore they gotta put it out. To know that like, this is not authentic to me. This is not, that's a tough thing to do.
It is. It's a tough thing to do, but you know, it had to be done.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. So how did you feel when you tried again, when you started making
Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is authentic to me. This is what I knew what I needed to do, and I knew what I needed to not do, you know. And I spent a long time putting the first one together, and it was just like, you know, you're like, damn, I spent a lot of time on it, and you kind of just don't want to get rid of it, but you're like, you know, you have to, you know. So I did it, but I'm happy that the second one was received well, for sure.
There's a lot of self-exploration on this record.
Yeah.
In the title track especially, there was a quote I wanted to read back to you, which was, "I realized that everything I ever thought I knew about myself was wrong. I realized that I had to sacrifice who I was for who I want to become." Who were you, and who did you want to become?
I was very vulnerable. You know what I mean? And, you know, I believe that I was very... I try to look at the good in everything versus the bad. I feel like I was more patient. And I feel like being that person cost me a lot of relationships, you know, because I think that, you know, when you're too vulnerable and you're too nice and you're too cool and then people take advantage of that, you know, and, you know, you start doing things for people, you know, because you feel guilty. You know, I was feeling guilty of my success, feeling guilty that I made it, but certain people didn't. And it's like, now I start giving, you know, start buying cars for people and start doing things and just handing money out. And you know what I mean? And people take advantage of that, you know. The person that I want to become is more of a selfish person, you know. I want to become more selfish. You know, I want to become, you know, fuck you. I want to become the person that's a little bit more cold, and the person that's, you know, a little bit more like less patient. You know what I mean? I want to become that person. I want to put up the wall, you know, and I want to be more, you know, my exterior to be more, you know, just, you know, less approachable when it comes to certain shit. So, you know what I mean? So this is what I want to be now. Is that are those good things or good attributes? Probably not, but I think that it's necessary for me, and that's what I wanted to become, and I think that that's what I became, and that's the person that I am now, and that's just what it is.
I know I just met you. Can I tell you my reading on that? 'Cause I heard you talk about that before. Is that it's not I understand it. Like if I'm understanding you correctly, when you are vulnerable and warm and giving, it is easy for people to take advantage of that. What I hear you talking about on this record is not like selfishness for the sake of being mean to people or being shitty to people. It's that kind of putting yourself first, making sure, because all that stuff you're talking about, again, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but all that stuff you're talking about, vulnerability, kindness, all that stuff, that's great. We all love that stuff. But not if it comes at the expense of your own health and your own safety and your own flourishing, you know?
Yeah, and I gotta put myself first, and I gotta put my kids first, and I gotta really I gotta protect my peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've already started doing that years ago, but now I just gotta be more with it. Yeah.
Not easy to do. Not easy to do, to send a text that says, no, you can't stay with me, or no, I can't, you know?
Right, especially when you love people, right? When you're a good person and you love people and you want to help them out, hold them down, and you just feel like it's the right thing to do because you made it and they didn't. They don't have anybody else to lean on, and yada, yada, yada. But when you've done things and you've done so much, and you bought people cars, and you've paid people's rents, and helped people out, and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars to allocated to helping people. I gave a couple people some record deals, that totaled up to over $1 million. You know what I'm saying? I've done certain things that just off of, the strength that you're my boy or you're my family, that I'm doing certain shit because, I have to, or I'm expected to, or whatever. And it's just like, you see how people treat that, or, how people treat you after that, and it's just like, you start to realize that, this is causing more harm than good to both you and me.
Yeah.
Now
exactly.
I'm enabling you, and now you're leaning on me, and it's just like, so you're afraid to kind of like lose that relationship, so you keep saying yes, but then you finally get to a point where you're like, fuck it. Like, if you don't fuck with me no more after this, then fuck you. Like, no.
How did you feel when you started writing songs like that? Like, what were the emotions you were feeling when you were writing songs like that?
It was my therapy.
Yeah.
It was a release. It was like, I felt like I haven't had therapy, so it's like, this was my therapy. This is my release. This is how I'm gonna, get through this shit, and I put it in the music,
I want to play one of the songs and talk a little bit about your writing style that I find really interesting. So I want to play one of the songs off the record. Just take a listen to that.
Sure.
Yeah, I got somebody I love, someone who's really important to me, but now they addicted to drugs. Someone who not who they used to be, and we ain't been keeping in touch. I ain't gonna say any names at all, cause I don't want no one to judge. But I wrote the song, I hope when they hear it, they'll never forget who they was. I hope you feeling your spirit enough. I wanna just tell you I love you in case that you really don't hear it as much. I know we ain't talked in a while, but f it, I really don't care what it was. I wanna reach out, but you keep on shutting me down, and you ain't been caring as much. What the f happened?
That's Joyner Lucas and Best For Me, featuring Jelly Roll. Really powerful song.
Thank you.
As much as you're comfortable here, tell me a little bit about writing it, where it came from.
It really just came from a place of I got some family and some friends that on both sides of it,
Yeah, me too.
I was inspired by that. And also, Jelly Roll and his advocation for the opioid crisis, and seeing stuff with him, it just really, it also motivated me to want to write the record, and it was just a no-brainer to get him on it.
Did you know each other beforehand?
Nope.
Or?
No, our friendship developed since.
So you reached out to him and said?
I reached out to him. I had the idea. I sent him the record. He was like, "Yo, this is gonna be my Grammy right here."
That's great.
Yeah.
And it came from hip hop too, right? Like long before country music.
Yeah, for sure.
He's
fire. Jelly Roll was nice. Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the impact of the song. There was so not just millions of streams, 10 million views on YouTube alone, 12,000 comments from people sharing their own experiences. There's that's what really got to me. I don't know if you look at any of the comments around your stuff.
I read it.
Good for you, man. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, I read it.
I find it stressful to read anything about it. I mean, the comments say, I'll read one of them right now. Coming up on 9 months clean, and I can't even begin to tell you what kind of impact your music has had on the recovery community. Please never stop what you do. What's it like to hear that kind of thing?
I feel like I love hearing it. You know, it's amazing. At the same time, I'm numb to it, right? It's become my life for the last 7 years, you know, so it's like I'm used to hearing that because I've made a bunch of records about suicide and records that, the record that I did called I'm Sorry was like 6-7 years ago. So I'm used to hearing people tell me their stories about, the traumatic life experiences in which they almost died and things like that. So now if the record is helping somebody is really what I care about at the end of the day. It's more than I care about,
you feeling good about
me
it.
feeling good about it. As long as they're good, that's what makes me, I'm happy about that. But when people tell me their stories, it's like, oh shit, like that's crazy. But I'm desensitized to really feeling like, you understand what I'm trying to say?
I think you gotta be.
Yeah.
Like I've talked to people who've written songs like that and people who have written songs about like suicide or people who have written songs about like, traumatic events or written books about it. And they'll say the same thing. At a certain point, after the 400th person comes and talks to you, you kind of got to look after yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it's like being a doctor. After your first day on a job and you're seeing somebody die, it's like you're sad about it, and then you're a doctor for 7 years, and you're seeing people come in decapitated and all kind of shit. It's like you kind of stopped it,
Yeah. Like you're still doing the good work.
You're still doing the good work and shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like you kind of desensitized to anything that you see at this point. It's like it's.
What was the I'm Not a Racist time like? Like that, because I'm trying to think about like, can I ask you about that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, in terms of like getting a lot of attention on you, that must have been a pretty big moment, right?
That was one of my favorite moments for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think that a lot of the reason why it's my favorite moment is because I was told that in order to become famous or to get successful, that you needed to make a hit record.
So were you at a low point before that?
Very low.
Really?
Extremely low point, right? Like I've been trying to kick these doors down for years and I just couldn't figure it out, right? And it's like, I've been told for years that in order to be successful or in order to, to be famous or whatever the case may be, you would have needed to make a hit record. Now, a hit record to a lot of people is a radio record. It's got a chorus. It's 3 minutes long. Can't be too long. Now it's 2 minutes and 30 minutes long.
15 seconds for a TikTok.
And at this time, you had a lot of hit records that, were crazy. And I didn't, that's not how I wanted to do it. It's like I didn't want to be known as, purposely trying to make a hit record and then blow up like that. I wanted to do what was true to me. And I'm Not Racist was so true to me as far as like the storytelling, shit, and like really me being able to really just be Joyner on that record. And for that record to do what it has done, went platinum, it's got tons of exposure, opened the door to all my biggest relationships in the game. It was on every news channel and you had all the politicians and everybody talking about it. It really like opened doors for me in a different way. And it really proved to myself that I didn't have to get on the way people said that I had to. It's like there's no right way to make it. And that was more gratification for me that, everybody has a different way of making it. And that was my way.
So you sort of had people telling you got to make a big club record or something like that.
Yeah, because that's been the industry standard for so many years. It's like you got to make you want to be famous, you want to be successful, you want to be number one, you got to make a number one club record hit. And people going to know who you, and it's just like, that's what you think you have to do. So you start crafting all these records that aren't really true to you because you want to try to make the jingle and the hit. So it's like to just say, fuck that. I'm going to create some storytelling shit that's going to be impactful, and ain't going to be no chorus. It's going to be 7 minutes long, right? You're just breaking every rule. These huge music video budgets that cost $1 million. My shit's going to cost $500.
Yeah, two people at a table.
It's just going to be 2 people at a table. We're not going to do, it's breaking all the rules. And
we didn't know anything about you.
Like, didn't know nothing about me. I wasn't in the music video, right? It was like, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to, get to where I need to go. And,
Where does the DMX story fit into this? I heard that DMX gave you some kind of advice around this.
So what he gave me advice, I mean, you know, when I wrote this record, you know, before I wrote it, I had a conversation with him because I was frustrated with exactly what we were talking about, you know, with the hit records and the labels and, you know, me just feeling like I signed my life away and then now I'm just stuck because it's like, now how the hell am I gonna, and, you know, he told me, you know, fuck them. Just do what you do, you know what I mean? And everything will figure itself out, you know? Just do what's true to you. Fuck the hit records, fuck, you know, whatever. Do what's true to you. And after, you know, I had that conversation, I went immediately and wrote it, I'm not racist. And that's what kicked the doors down for me, and that's what kind of made my stamp in the industry as like, okay, you know, and, you know, all of the big dogs, all of the people that I grew up, pictures on my wall, posters and shit, they, you know, a lot of my friendships with them started over this record. You know what I mean?
Oh, can you tell me one? Can you tell me
Eminem.
So that's why is that how you ended up on that track?
Eminem, like, yeah. Like my relationship with him started through I'm Not Racist. You know, you've heard that record, and, you know, you've heard a lot of records, but that was the record that really solidified my relationship with him. I mentioned him in the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, of course. Yeah. Listen, you don't have to tell me this. I've always wondered how Eminem reaches out to somebody. Is it an email? Is it a phone call?
Nah, it's like, dude, what he did was he had a couple interviews in which he mentioned me.
Cool.
You know, as like one of, you know, they asked him who his favorite, you know, artists were. You know, and he was like, you know, Joyner Lucas is, you know, and I'm just like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit. You know, between him, you know, my brother Chris Brown, he's reached out to me, you know, Rihanna, you know, she's reached out to me, you know, a lot. It's like the floodgates open the moment that I drop I'm Not Racist, and all of my, you know, all of the industry people that I've ever wanted to work with were just there, and they just all embraced me at that moment. So that's why that record is such an important record to me, because I've been able to, you know, be Joyner Lucas and get on the way that I wanted to, and not have to be forced to make this hit jingle record in order to get to where I needed to go. And it wasn't until after I'm Not Racist where I'm like, all right, now I want to make my little jingle. Now I want to do my little, you know, my mainstream shit, you know, and I did that. You know?
Yeah.
Those records went platinum too.
Yeah.
I Love went platinum.
Yeah.
Got a record with Eminem called Lucky You.
Big record.
That went platinum.
Mm-hmm. So if I was to take the I'm Not Racist song and then take the Jelly Roll song we were talking about, right? Yeah. They have something in common. They're from different perspectives. Yeah. You know, in the first song we talked about, it's from the perspective, and I'm going to talk all over your music here, but like from an addict, someone who's struggling with addiction, and someone who cares about someone who's struggling with addiction. And I'm Not Racist, it's from a white supremacist or someone, you know, and then it's from someone pushing back on a white supremacist. Where in you does... I've never really met anyone else who writes this way, to have two opposing viewpoints in a song. And I think it takes a really interesting perspective. And I'm interested where that perspective might come from. Your parents, from your family?
No, I just honestly, I think that I feel like it comes from, you know, understanding that different people have different points of views, right? And it's not just one side to every story, right? It's, you know, there's two sides. You know, sometimes people say there's three.
Yeah,
you know,
the truth.
Your side, my side, and the truth.
Yeah.
But the truth is the audience, right? The audience is the truth, because they're the ones that's deciding which side that they're taking, right? So you got my side, you got your side, and the truth is the audience. And the audience is, they're going to form their own opinion, and they're going to have their own truth to what they believe is right. So if you realize in these records, I'm not actually telling someone, don't use drugs, right?
Yeah.
Because when you come across like that, hey, don't use drugs, now you're telling somebody what to do.
Yeah.
I never said don't use drugs. I'm giving you a story about someone who did use drugs, and I'm giving you, in that same story, I'm giving you, you know, somebody else's opinion on what's happening to them from this person using drugs, right? And then from there, you formulate your own opinion. And then you're going to stop using it, or you're going to come up with your own conclusion from there. But not once did I tell you not to use drugs. In the record, I'm sorry, not once did I tell you, don't kill yourself, you know?
Yeah.
I gave a story, and I let you decide if you still want to do that or not. And you listen to I'm Not Racist. Not one time did I say, hey, don't be racist, guys.
Yeah.
Never said that. I created a picture. And in that picture, I made you see the full picture, and you decided that this guy was racist. As a matter of fact, I said, I'm not racist. I kept saying, I'm not racist.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I never said,
even when he was saying all this
saying all this shit, I'm not racist.
Yeah.
I create the picture, I create the movie, and then from there, I let the audience decide, you know, what their truth is.
I love that, the idea that if we take that there's three sides to every story, his side, her side, and the truth. In your case, the audience then gets to be the truth.
The audience gets to be the
jury.
truth.
Gets
That's
to be
their jury.
the
They get to decide what the truth is and what's not the truth, based off of their own experiences. You know what I mean?
Let me close up by asking you this.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing in you is not just like a really brilliant perspective on songwriting, but also drive, man. No one was going to stop me. They were telling me I was going to make a club record, but I didn't have to. I was going to make music my way. I was going to make it my way. Make it. I drive. Can I ask where that drive comes from? I'm always really curious about that.
It honestly comes from being afraid of just being a regular person. And it's like, I don't want to be a regular guy and have regular money and go work a 9 to 5 and, watch my mom struggle for the rest of her life, and it's like, I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to break generational curses. I wanted to have money. I wanted to change the world. I wanted to offer my, perspective on certain shit. I don't want to die in nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, my worst fear has always been dying in nobody. I don't want to go out like that. We still talk about Michael Jackson to this day.
Yeah.
Been dead 10 years.
And we will.
We talk about Tupac to this day. He's been dead 30 years. He's going to live forever.
Yeah.
If Eminem passes away, God forbid, he's going to live forever. And it's like, I want to be one of the guys that live forever. I want my music to live forever. When you listen to, there's certain XXX, he's going to live forever. He's affected so many people. Juice WRLD, a lot of these
Mac's
people.
Gonna live
Mac
forever.
Miller's gonna live forever. There's a lot of these artists are gonna live forever, and it's just DMX will always live, right? And it's like Joyner Lucas has to live forever, and I'm gonna create music that's gonna, years and years and years from now, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, you're always gonna be able to play Best for Me and to help somebody get through that situation, because there's always going to be somebody using a drug or alcohol abuse. You're going to always be able to, play I'm Sorry for somebody that wants to kill themselves. 50 years or 100 years from now, you're going to be able to play this record. You're going to be able to play I'm Not Racist, because racism will still exist. There's no way that that's going to stop, right? So these records are crafted and designed specifically to be able to live forever. Joyner Lucas wants to live forever, and I want to make sure that my kids, I want to make sure that my family, my generation, I want to make sure that, the shit lives forever, and that's what drives me.
I love it, man. Lovely to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.